Hi, I'm Anna Choi, and today I'll be presenting our paper on augmented datasheets for speech datasets and ethical decision-making. This is a joint work across Sony AI and Cornell, with authorship spanning computer scientists, linguists, ethicists, legal experts, and speech-to-text practitioners. The crux of our paper is to expand upon Gebre et al.'s seminal work on building datasheets, which provides a template for dataset creators and users to fill out with relevant documentation on dataset characteristics. We propose additional questions to the Gebre et al. Datasheets, focusing on datasets with speech data. To motivate our work, we begin by emphasizing that speech technology is both prevalent and important. While you may recognize automated speech recognition in relatively low-stakes settings such as Alexa or Siri, this technology is also used in high-impact scenarios to support individuals with disabilities, to make driving safer, to help medical doctors transcribe patient notes, and to transcribe courtroom events. Of course, if the underlying speech technology is biased, this could lead to serious downstream effects. For example, transcribing a subset of court defendants incorrectly could lead to biased criminal justice decisions. So, what sorts of biases do these include? Prior work in 2020 showed that speech-to-text error rates were twice as high for Black speakers relative to white speakers, and this was true across all the top commercial APIs. This disparity was traced to the lack of diversity in the underlying speech data used to train these speech-to-text systems. No speech specific to African American English had yet been collected by these companies for model training. Similarly, speech-to-text systems were found this year to underperform for individuals with dysphonic speech, stemming from a neurological disorder afflicting patients. A similar concern might be at play that training data likely contains very little data of speech-impaired utterances. It's a significant hurdle for speech-to-text providers, especially smaller companies, to procure speech data, as there are many considerations to be made with regard to speech-specific data collection. For example, should the data used to train models be based on read speech, wherein a participant might read pre-written articles on Wikipedia? Or should spontaneous speech be collected instead, wherein a participant speaks in an unconstrained dialogue with an interviewer, which emulates more natural speech? And how do you choose the participants? Should there be full coverage of different languages, or should the focus be on a single language? If only within a specific language, should there be a focus on different accents? For example, recruiting participants from Singapore, India, Australia, and so on. If focusing on a single country, say America, should the collection include different dialects, for example, from New Yorkers and Southerners? What about individuals with atypical speech due to health status differences, or individuals who speak multiple languages or dialects who might code-switch between these types of speech when speaking? In a review of 220 published speech datasets, we found that the vast majority do not include a diversity of dialects or accents, nor do they include diversity in age or gender. Both of these demographics are known to have large impacts on speech recognition accuracy. For example, speech technology often has trouble transcribing speech from older individuals, so datasets that exclude these subpopulations are unlikely to improve on this problem. All of these examples serve as the motivation for our augmented datasheets for speech datasets. We want to ensure such documentation is consistent and provides use to downstream users, such as practitioners who may use different speech datasets to train new models. And also, we want to highlight considerations of speech diversity in datasets. In order to generate speech-specific questions for our datasheets, we first perform a large-scale speech literature review and speech dataset review. We then use these learnings to extract relevant speech considerations and thematically cluster dataset properties into different datasheet questions. Our datasheet follows the same header structure of the original Gebre et al. Datasheets, with section headers on motivation, composition, data collection, processing data, and data use. Under the motivation section, We propose 3 additional datasheet questions, including specifying whether the speech data collected was based on read or spontaneous speech. We also ask about linguistics of populations in the data, such as different accents, dialects, atypical speech, and so on. We propose 10 additional speech questions regarding data composition. These include more details on linguistics of populations, notes on written transcriptions accompanying the audio files, and so on. We propose 5 additional speech questions related to data collection. These include notes on the technicality of data collection, such as specific microphones used. We also ask whether differing amounts of background noise were collected, which ties into questions of representation across different socioeconomic groups, which correlate with locations having differing amounts of ambient noise. We propose 6 additional questions on data processing. These include questions about consistency in transcription annotation and transcription conventions, such as rules for hate speech inclusion. Finally, we propose 4 additional questions on data use, distribution, and maintenance. These include questions such as whether sensitive information was fully redacted or if personally identifiable information was only redacted in transcriptions but not in the corresponding audio files. Finally, to encourage practical use of our augmented speech datasheets, we provide fillable templates of our speech datasheets on GitHub. For reference, we also provide worked examples of our datasheet questions on 5 popular speech-specific datasets. These are also available on GitHub. Finally, we want to end with some calls to action. Firstly, we call on dataset creators to fill out speech-specific datasheets to transparently document the contents of their datasets. Secondly, we call on speech practitioners to consult datasheets when choosing which datasets to use, allowing for better consideration of speech diversity. Finally, we call on the broader speech community to view our datasheets as something to iterate on together with speech minoritized communities, including with dataset subjects and users. Thank you for your time, and we hope you will consider using our augmented datasheets for speech datasets.